All right, for this example, we're going to factor 8m to the third power minus 16m squared plus 4m. All right, so step one is always to figure out what your GCF is, okay? So again, first we want to look at our coefficients. I've got 8, negative 16, and positive 4, and determine what those coefficients have in common. So I could divide them all by 2, or even higher, I could divide them all by 4. So the GCF of those terms would be 4. Okay? Now I'm going to look at my variables. So in the last video, I gave you a hint on how to figure out what the GCF of the variables was. First, make sure that they all have one. So this has m cubed, m squared, and m. So they definitely have at least an m in common, and then figure out what your lowest exponent is. So this only has one m, this one has 2, this one has 3. So the least amount of m's that they've all got is just 1. So my GCF is going to be 4m. So now what I can do is divide each of these by 4m. Okay, so the GCF needs to go out front. We're factoring it to be out front, and now inside the parentheses is what's going to be left after I divide. So 8 divided by 4 would be 2, and then I've got 3 m's and I'm taking away 1 m, so that would leave me with m squared. All right, then negative 16 divided by 4 would be negative 4, m squared, and take 1 m away, I'm left with m. All right, this last part, I always see a lot of people making mistakes. These cancel. So what some students will do is leave this blank, but anything divided by itself is always 1. So make sure you include a 1 in your answer. And then I would be done with the problem. Now, there are 2 ways to kind of quickly check and make sure that you did it right. We already talked about before, I could distribute the 4m to everything and check and make sure that I get the original problem. You also always want to look at what's inside of your parentheses and make sure that none of those terms have anything in common. If the terms have something in common, then you haven't factored it all the way and you have a higher GCF.